Just start recording that. So gross debt service ratio, GDSR, right? So we will refer to it as the GDSR moving forward. But it is a key component of calculating if you can afford a house or how much you can afford to pay for a house, right? It compares the total cost of your monthly mortgage payment. There's that. I'm going to highlight that, right? You take your mortgage payment, the taxes you pay on it, and the heating. Those are the three components that are considered for the GDSR. I must say that disclaimer, every bank will have a certain variation as to how they calculate whether or not you can afford the house. They all have their own ways of doing it, but this is like a standard way that most financial institutions calculate it. Of course, if your credit is not good, that obviously might influence their final decision as to whether or not they approve your mortgage, right? Um, I will say something here because it fits right in. If you are going to go house shopping, right, you want to go buy a house, you probably should go. I will show you how to do that, the GDSR, and work backwards to find out if you can even afford, like, what's the price range that you're looking at for a particular house, right? So there's a lot of calculators out there online that you can use to help you out, but you should be shopping in the price range that you know you're going to be approved for. But furthermore, I would go a step further. Okay, Brady, good. I would go a step further. I would say go to the bank. That's what I did both times I went house shopping, right? Go to the bank and let them set up a letter where they tell whoever it pertains to, like one of the potential, the potential house owner that you're trying to buy from. You can give that letter in your offer, and you can tell them that you are pre-approved. The bank has already pre-approved you for this amount, because a lot of buyers nowadays, it's a big deal, right? Like, if let's say you get 10 offers, you are the seller and people put in offers, right? And you have heard of the bidding wars and whatnot. In that offer, if they can see that you're pre-approved, even though you might have bid a little bit lower than the highest bidder, it may come down to them knowing that you are pre-approved, that they will pick you over the other. Because if they, let's say they pick the highest bidder, obviously they have to tell everybody else you didn't get it. So now they're going to go ahead and look for other houses, right? And it takes a couple of days to finalize the mortgage. Like, that person that won the bid needs to now go to their bank and apply for a mortgage and get it approved. And it happens a lot, quite often, that the mortgage is not approved. Yes, they wanted it really bad, like they wanted the house, but the mortgage has not been approved because you do not meet the criteria, right? And so now what? Well, the seller needs to now put it back on the market and go through the whole process again. So you being pre-approved gives the owner, right, the person selling, some confidence, like, you know what, person bid a little bit lower, but at least we know we're not going to have to go through the hassle of posting or listing our house again or going through the whole process again. So get pre-approved before you go shopping for a house or a condo or whatever the case may be. It helps you out. Okay. So for the GDSR, they consider these three items, right? And your gross monthly income from all sources. Okay. So why am I saying from all sources? Well, you may have two jobs. You might work a full-time job and a part-time job. So they'll look at your income tax return. So always keep those in a safe place because they're going to ask for it. Or if you are, you're buying it with someone else, both of the names are going to be on the title of that house. whosever name shows up on the title of the house, which is, remember, the land transfer tax, they will put both of the names on that title of that house. So both people need to sign in order to sell the house, right? So if both of the names are on the title, the bank will consider both of the incomes as part of the GDSR calculation. So they will take both incomes, and now you can afford a bigger and more expensive house because you have two incomes. And yes, could you do three people? Absolutely. You could have three people on that title, and then they consider all three incomes as part of your pre-approval to see if you're gonna qualify or not. So that's why I write down from all sources. Okay. A mortgage is the loan that you take out from a financial institution to pay for your house, of course, right? All right. So here's the GDSR. The monthly housing cost must not be greater than 32%. This is very important. Okay. That's going to be our line that we cannot cross. If we cross the 32%, we will not be approved. In this course, that's how we're going to do it. Okay. If someone's GDSR is, and I made a mistake here, we will not 32 or greater. We will just say greater than 32%. That's what we're going to write in here. If someone's GDSR is greater than 32%, so let's say it's 32.5, we do the calculation, it comes up to be bigger than 32, we in this course are going to say bank is not going to approve it. That's our bottom line. In reality, the bank is probably going to approve you, but in this course, that's our line that we do not cross. Okay. Monthly housing costs include, there it is again. I'm going to use two different highlighters. One to highlight that, watch this, monthly, monthly, monthly. Okay. So we're always going to talk monthly when we do this calculation. So if they give you the yearly, you need to convert it into a monthly by dividing it by 12, right? And then we have our mortgage payment, the heating costs, and the property taxes. These three are always going to be included in our calculation, okay? To calculate the GDSR, we use the following formula. So this is actually on your formula sheet. If you have the yellow formula sheet, you will find this in there. So no need to copy this into your study sheet, but I would say why not, right? You have a lot of room because we're only having 3 units in our next cumulative. So make a new study sheet and add that in there, okay? And while you're at it, why don't you do this? Monthly, 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 because that's going to be, okay, Christine, the video is going to be there, right? So everything is monthly, but remember that, because that's going to be, sometimes that's going to be a pain in the butt. If you forget that, it's going to make everything wrong. Your answer is going to be ridiculously small or ridiculously big, right? So you have to make sure you convert everything to monthly. All right, some more formulas that I'm going to give you. These are not on your formula sheet. To calculate the maximum monthly on housing, right? We use the following formula, okay? So maximum housing, this is the formula. Maximum housing cost, you will just take 0.32, remember that 32%, times monthly income. Right? If you take 32% and you multiply it by your monthly income, that is the maximum you can spend on housing to still be approved, right? This will be the maximum you can spend on housing to still be approved. Okay, if you wanna know what's the maximum I can spend on it and still be approved, this is how you do it. That's the formula there, and I'm going to box that in. Okay, box it in. So maximum housing cost is that. To calculate the maximum monthly payment, right, mortgage payment, I'm going to use this one, but just rewrite it a little bit. Okay, maximum payment is going to be 0.32 times the income. So we're going to take the maximum we can do on housing, but we're going to subtract the heating, and we're going to subtract the property tax. And this is monthly. I will just make sure you understand that. Monthly and monthly. Okay. Boxing in means important, right? So remember, what's housing costs again? Boom, let's go up. Housing costs up here is your payment, your heating, and your property taxes. Those three are considered housing costs. Now you might ask, well, Mr. Dirksen, I know that that's not everything that comes with housing. What about electricity? What about, right, insurance? All of these other things. Yes, I know. But they want to make sure that these three items are about a third of your income. That's why we have the 32%, right? So that's kind of what they're saying, and obviously those other expenses are going to come on top of that. So, okay, so example 1, the Oliviers have a combined family income of 5,800. Okay, and this is I should have added this. This is monthly. Can you add that, please? So you're not saying, oh, is this annual? Is this monthly? This is a monthly amount. This gross before income taxes, and that's another weird thing. They base it on your gross income, and you're saying, well, I don't, right? Like what I see is always after taxes. Well, that's how they calculate it, and that's just how it is. Okay. What is the maximum they can spend on housing? So maximum housing, we're going to use that very top formula up here. We're just going to go 0.32 times 5,800. It's already monthly. And it is, if you multiply this using your calculator, it's 1856. This is what it is. And so this is mortgage plus heat plus tax, property tax, that is. That is what, this is the maximum you can spend on it. So what's the highest mortgage you could pay then? Well, if you know your tax and your heating, right, you subtract these two from that, you would be able to get the mortgage that, like the actual mortgage payment, the maximum mortgage payment you're allowed to have, right? And by the way, this is per month, right? So notice that housing is those three components in there. Let's keep going, next page. Right, so we have that. Still the Oliviers, right? Estimate that the houses they're looking for will cost approximately $180 per month on heating So the size of house that you're looking for, the square footage, you kind of know what the average heating is going to be for that size of house that you're looking for. Is it going to be a little bit more, a little bit less? Yes, it depends on insulation and on a lot of factors, but approximately 180 a month. And the property taxes will be 3,800 per year. There's that word year. Watch out. Monthly taxes is going to be 3,800 divided by 12, right? You divide that by 12 to get a monthly amount, and that is 316.67. Sorry, it's a little bit off here, right? So this is what I need. I need everything to be monthly, okay? So what is the maximum monthly mortgage payment they can afford? Okay, maximum housing is going to be, we calculated that just before this, which was what, 1856, right? Maximum mortgage payment will be 1856 minus the 180 for heating minus the 316.67, because you got to pay these. You have no option. Heating and property taxes have to be paid, right? So if you take that away from the housing that you can afford, you will get your payment, and that payment is 1359.33 per month. This is what they were really after. They're like, yes, I can spend this much on housing, but what about the actual mortgage payment? Take away the heat, take away the property taxes, and then you're left with, right, the remainder is what you can pay on the actual mortgage. Okay, so I'll make a note here. Mortgage payment cannot exceed 1359.33 to be approved. That's basically what you've calculated here. Okay. If your payment exceeds that, you would no longer be able to afford that particular type of house you're looking for. Okay. What if all of yours find a home that they're thinking of buying with property taxes of $3,600 a year, heating costs are estimated to be $250 per month, and the mortgage payment of the new home is $1,450 per month.
So the heating costs are.
Yes. So property taxes, we're gonna do right monthly property taxes. We're just gonna go 3,600 divided by 12, and that is $300 per month. Right? So this is what we want. We are now checking off that they're all monthly, right? So we need to have this calculation here. We need to divide that 3,600, whatever the property tax is per year, divided by 12 to get your monthly amount. And now that everything is per month, we are good to go, okay? Let's do a little, let's first write out the formula. GDSR is going to be in that order, right? Mortgage plus heat plus tax, all of that divided by income, and we multiply that by 100 at the end. Okay? So GDSR is going to be a percentage that we're going to get out of that. So if you want to figure that out, you go mortgage, which is 1450, plus the heating, which is 250, plus the property taxes, which is 300. Divide that by their income. Recall their income from the previous page. So we go and get that. So I'm going to just go look at it. I think it was 5,800. 5,800. And we multiply this whole thing by 100 after all. I will make a note. Where did we get the income from? I'll just make an arrow there. See page 32. Okay. That way you're not wondering where did the 5,800 come from. We got it from page 32. Now you got to push on the brakes here. Don't speed up. We're gonna figure this out first, right? So you take your handy calculator and you just add up everything at the top. You can use mental math in this case, but it's 2,000 exactly. It won't always be the case. And we're gonna multiply that by 100. So you go 2,000 divided by 5,800, hit equals, and then multiply that by 100. You get 34, 2 decimals, okay? 34.48%. That is your GDSR. That's what we wanted. You should not be getting a negative number, okay? No negatives, okay? No negatives. State as percent, okay? All entries in monthly amounts, okay? So this is very important. All entries need to be in monthly amounts or else you will not get it right. It'll be completely off. So for instance, let's say you had put down 3,600, right? 1,450 plus 250 plus 3,600. Let's say you forget to divide, right? And you divide that by 5,800 and you multiply that by 100, you get 91%, right? That's way off. I mean, could it be? Yes, then you're way over debt. Like you wouldn't be approved for sure. So 91% would be off, right? So just be careful with that. Will the bank approve? Why or why not? No. The bank will not approve this mortgage, comma, since the GDSR is above 32%. Okay, this is a must. If you just say yes or no, I'm not going to give you marks. You need to refer to the GDSR being above or below. If this had been 31.48%, you would have said yes, they are approved because the GDSR is below 32%. Okay, so you can say, make reference to that. Before we go, I will just make a note here. What can they do to options to qualify for a house in this price range? Exactly. Yeah. Increase term, right? Because that would result in a lower payment, right? If you increase the term, and I've heard of 30-year mortgages now, so they go from 25 to 30, you're pushing it out. It will reduce your mortgage payment and therefore qualifying you, right? Increase down payment, right? So if you save up for a bit more of a bigger down payment, you lower the monthly payment, right? Your mortgage payment. Another way of doing that is increasing income. How can you do that? Get a cosigner. Have you heard of that? I bet you some of you, your parents or guardian co-signed for you getting a loan for a car because you're still newbies, right? No offense, but you're newbies in the whole credit rating system. And so you need to get somebody to sign for it. So they're including their income. And so if you can make the payment, they're on the hook for it, right? So they're basically owning it with you. And so the thing is with a cosigner is that their name will be on the title. So you cannot sell the house without them signing on it. Okay. I think I'm just gonna stop here. Well, maybe I'll include this on the video. Why not? I want you to try example 2 today. So I will just say that their GDSR, write down the answer. Their GDSR is 14.39%. And then you have to say why not they will be approved. Now just listen for a bit, okay? The land transfer tax is always a lot of money, right? So let's say, and I will put this on a scrap piece of paper because it's not really part of our chapter, so you can just relax now a little bit. But let's say you buy a house, right? And this is owned by your dad and you, okay? You pay land transfer tax, and let's say it's $4,250. Both of your names are on the title. You need it at first because you need that extra income to be able to afford it. It will be tight, but over time you're going to make more money and you're going to be able to pay off. Let's say you lock in for 5 years. After 5 years, the bank now says, hey, your income is pretty good. You can afford the house on your own. Okay? You want your dad's name off the title now. If you do that, right? If you, as is, you basically have to pay the land transfer tax again to change the ownership to just you. Okay? So that's a lot of money that you will have to pay just to get rid of that second name from the title. So this is a little trick I learned. You can make, you need to talk to your lawyer. You can make your dad a 1% owner and you a 99% owner of that property. So when it comes time to get your dad's name off the title, you would only pay 1% of the land transfer tax. So 4250 times 0.01. You can do the math probably already in your head, but I don't want to get that wrong. So that would be $42.50. You have to talk to your lawyer about it because the lawyer that helps you with the whole buying of a house, it needs to be set up at that point. The bank still sees it as your dad is on the hook if you cannot pay. But in terms of the land transfer tax, this is a nice trick. It can save you a lot of money. But you need that cosigner to get into a house or into a condo right? You really want it. You're going to put the money aside, you're going to save, you're not going to go spend like crazy. It's going to be tight. And then after 5 years, when it's time to renew your mortgage, you tell your bank, I don't want my dad on there anymore. They're like, well, I need to see the new title, because they actually look at the title of the house. And when they see your dad's name now removed, they will also remove it. That is only provided that you make enough money to now be able to, because they kind of do the GDSR again to see if you can hold this on your own. They do like a stress test, they call it, right? And possibly the GDSR. And now, right, they'll be able to say, well, you owe less because you've paid 5 years already. So they'll do the calculation. You probably make more as well. And so now you can kick your dad or mom or whoever it is off of it, right? Anyways, that was a lot of talking for a